persons for driving under the influence of alcohol. Statistics has shown that persons are driving while intoxicated, especially on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday, and I like to call it the party days.
Well, tranquil, Crooked Island was left shaken by a heinous act of murder that sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community last Saturday. The island now bearing the weight of grief as authorities continue their investigations. Laurentia Smith is on the story tonight.
Detectives are making significant progress into the death of 42-year-old Justin Williams, whose body was found with lacerations to his hands and forehead on Crooked Island on Saturday past. A senior ranking officer telling Eyewitness News that several persons are in custody and more officers are on the ground continuing their investigations. Williams' younger sister, Sharika Lewis, expressed that it has been a roller coaster of emotions since her brother's death.
And I'm just trying to keep myself together right now because it's hard. It's like it's two double, like it's the hardest pill right now. It's like a missile for me to swallow. Yeah, because we all were preparing to go to attend his wife's funeral. That is upcoming on this coming Saturday on the 13th. She would have passed after battling a few years with cancer.
The deceased was a fisherman by profession, according to Lewis, and she says she learned of her brother's death from their neighbor.
I'm not going to say the neighbor's name on the media, but I'm just going to say, I need you to come now because your brother is across the road from so-and-so home, and he's not breathing. Now I'm thinking that he's probably, I'm not thinking that I was going to meet him in that state. So I just dashed out of the house and my kids. And when we got so far and I saw his body just lying there in the road, I knew right then and there something just came to me. I just got weak all over, cold inside. My tummy tense up. I said, oh God, what are you telling me? He said, your brother is dead. I said, oh no, he's not dead, but I'm going to still see for myself.
According to the 2022 census, there are 305 residents on Crooked Island, and Lewis says that residents are asking why something like this took place in such a small and remote community.
Community for those persons that everyone is traumatized in this community. Everyone is heartbroken because this never happened before. This is freaking history because everybody know this community to be a quiet, peaceful community on the island of Crooked Island. In fact, all the communities is quiet and peaceful, and something like this have never taken place before. This is freaking history, and the whole island is just, hey, everybody's just shooken and torn apart. But why? Why?
Sharika. Laurentia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, in response to the escalating wave of crimes gripping the capital, communities are witnessing a surge in police presence as authorities make a concerted effort to curb the upswing in criminal activity. Following their recent operation in the Fox Hill community, law enforcement agencies have turned their attention to Bain and Grantstown today. They tell our Jose Etienne their aim is to foster a stronger relationship between the public and the police.
Police officials continuing with their walkabout initiative with hopes of fostering an improved relationship with the people of Bain and Grantstown and the police force. And today, authorities say one of their main focuses is ridding that community of derelict vehicles.
We're going to mark these vehicles and give them their specific time to move those vehicles. If not, then we take the necessary action.
That's Superintendent Davy Pratt, and his comments come as residents have voiced their frustrations with how these vehicles are being used to criminals' advantage.
The children hiding gun. They had a gun inside here, my son's car here, and a gun was hiding under the white car, and a gun was hiding under the gray car, my son's car across the two.
With police seeking to beef up their presence in the various communities, Martian Pratt, a resident in the Grantstown community, is urging police to take this piece of advice into consideration.
There's some things police can understand when you socialize with people, and they don't have a good social communication with people.
Meanwhile, police officials say today's walkabout is a result of authorities paying close attention to the concern of residents.
They have concerns, crime in their area. We need to address those issues. For the most part, I believe they would have lack of seeing the police presence, but there's a new initiative that the Royal Bahamas Police Force will be rolling out very shortly, the saturation patrols. So we will be seeing a lot more of police presence on the streets.
And it's an initiative which is being lauded by Reverend Hugh Roll, pastor of Salem Union Baptist Church.
As you probably would have walked through, you would have seen some of the conditions that they're in, and these things lead to social and then sometimes the criminal element that comes up in our community. And we have quite a number of programs, and I'm very happy to say that we will be working along with the police in order to see how we can assist.
Now, authorities remain concerned about the lack of collaboration between the public and police when it comes to solving serious crimes which have been on the rise as of late. And it's to that end why Pratt says consistent police patrols in these communities are necessary.
We must partner with the community in order to make the community safe for a better place for you and everybody to live. So with the walking and talking in these communities to the resident, I think it's fitting that the residents of these communities get exactly and rightly more patrols, more boots on the ground in these communities.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Well, the grieving family of a female murder victim whose lifeless body was tragically discovered in waters of the South Beach Canal continues to speak out. Tonight, they share their profound sorrow at the loss of a beloved family member, allegedly at the hands of someone who was once her trusted lover. Tyler Simonet has their story tonight.
My sister was an excellent person. She was a great person. I just felt like she was too trusting and she was too, can we say, gullible when it comes to certain situations. She cared a bit too much, and I think that when you care so much, I can't get backfired on her.
Yinka Strawn was an amazing mother and youth leader, according to her family members. When her sister, Nicola Strawn, heard the news of a body found riddled with gunshot wounds in the South Beach canals, she says she instantly knew it was her sister.
3 days prior to the situation, my sister came home and she was in an abusive relationship with this guy. And she came home and she was like beaten up and whatever, you know. So I asked her, I said, what is happening? And she told me he took me out to the South Beach canals. He threatened me and told me that he would kill me out of there with a gun. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's my sister. That have to be my sister, because it was like the same exact story that she told me 3 days ago.
Yinka unfortunately leaves behind 4 children. Her firstborn son, Daniel Strawn, says he and his mother had a great relationship, and he was devastated when he found out what happened to her.
I had a close relationship with her. It was hard, woman, but when the situation happened, it broke my heart to pieces, and I couldn't bear the pain any longer, but I had to stay a calm composure for my family and stay strong for them.
34-year-old Giuliano Dorset was charged with Yinka's murder on April 24th and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections. When asked if the family felt as if justice has been served, Nicola says the feeling is bittersweet.
Well, in a way, I'm happy that they have him and he's locked up, but at the same time, it still doesn't bring my sister back. I am highly upset over the situation, because it's almost like, why would you do this to her? Because she loved you. She cared about you.
And she also makes this plea to any woman in an abusive relationship to get out before it's too late.
When you're not comfortable with something, say it. Do not sit there and allow somebody to treat you the way you're not supposed to be treated. If you're a queen, be a queen and act like a queen, because nobody's going to mistreat a queen, honey. You understand? And not only that, love yourself. If you don't love yourself, who can love you? You got to love you first.
Tyler Simonet, Eyewitness News.
Heartbreaking story there, Tyler, but acts of illegal migration seem to be slowing down. At least that's according to Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, who suggests that several factors which are contributing to the changing trend is causing a change in that state. Jose Etienne has more in this report.
Officials noticing a downward trend in individuals migrating from Haiti and Cuba to the Bahamas. That's according to Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore Dr. Raymond King, who says migrants seem to be thinking twice before taking the risky voyage.
There's been a regression in terms of migration generally in this area. We have seen a marked reduction in the numbers of Haitian migrants attempting to leave Haiti for the Bahamas or the United States. We've also seen a downtrend in the movements in the Cuban migrants moving towards the United States.
But what seems to be the reason?
There's a particular law, Title 42, which would have denied persons the right to asylum's hearing and a direct repatriation from the United States of America. And President Biden was poised to setting that aside. And so now you have a number of migrants from the region moving towards the Mexican border, Mexican-U.S. border.
The regression in illegal migration also being attributed to a policy implemented by the United States Department of Homeland Security, which allows nationals of Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela and their immediate family members to legally enter the U.S.
Once they're vetted in terms of security vetting, and they have a sponsor in the United States, they can reside in the United States for up to a 2-year period. And so we have that incentive now seeking to demotivate persons from making that treacherous voyage.
And as it directly relates to the decrease in Cubans attempting to illegally migrate.
You have the visa waiver programs through Jamaica. The Cubans now are now using that means and moving through Belize to get to the United States.
Now, this comes as officials have been grappling with a major uptick in illegal migration since last year. Immigration Minister Keith Bell disclosed earlier this year that nearly 5,000 irregular migrants, inclusive of 1,001 Cubans and over 3,000 Haitians, were repatriated last year. Commodore King revealed months ago that the push factor in both countries is the worsening state of social and political unrest, which have both countries in a chokehold. Now, despite the regression, Commodore King maintains that authorities will remain on high alert to deal with those seeking to illegally migrate to country. Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Now, while King says there has been a regression in foreign nationals seeking to illegally migrate elsewhere, King says there have still been recent attempts by Haitian nationals to illegally enter the country.
We've had 1 or 2 vessels recently which attempted to leave Haiti, and one was intercepted by the United States Coast Guard some 40 nautical miles southwest of Great Inagua. Recently, I think it had probably about, I believe it's 184 persons, and the United States Coast Guard dealt with that issue. We had a migrant landing at Great Inagua. Yesterday, it was one of those vessels, open vessels, hulled vessels that are normally used by migrants leaving Cape Haitian to go to Turks and Caicos. They may have been affected by the weather. They landed on the southern end of Great Inagua. Those persons, I think it's 22 persons in total. I think 17 of the 22 would have been transported to the capital this morning. The open hull vessel was found beached on the southern end of Great Inagua, but that particular type of vessel is used for short voyages from Haiti to Turks and Caicos.
Now on to news from the political front. Today, the leader of the opposition is telling Laurentia Smith that he wants government to show the receipts for what was spent on its recent trip to attend the King's coronation. Several public officials, including Pintard himself, were in London for that event. Here's that report.
It's been almost 1 week since the Bahamian delegation returned from attending the coronation of King Charles III. And now the leader of the opposition, Michael Pintard, is calling on government to provide a breakdown on what was spent. Notwithstanding the Marco City MP and his wife also making the trip after reportedly being invited by the office of the Prime Minister.
Important that the government accounts for the trip and to report on what it believes the benefits are to the Bahamas for the trip taken.
The Governor General, the Prime Minister and their wives, Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell and several other members of government were also on the trip. Prime Minister Davis took part in several meetings and courtesy calls. Pintard shared what he thinks the benefits were of the trip.
Attract Bahamians to return home or wherever they are to make a contribution to the development of our country. We have thousands of Bahamians in the diaspora with wealth as well as a wealth of knowledge and who could benefit the country. And we also need to establish relationships with international non-governmental organizations, for-profit organizations, governments that can benefit the country.
Pintard acknowledged that the coronation was a historic moment, but just like his parliamentary colleagues, he thinks it's time that the country stands on its own.
While my personal view is the Bahamas is mature enough for us to have our own head of state, until that is done, in my estimation, it is important that we respect what those conventions are. There are many members of government right now who are not monarchists. They don't necessarily believe that the head of state for the UK should be the head of state of the Bahamas. I believe that we are mature enough to move in a different direction.
Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, if you've got a news tip or if you've seen news in the making, please call the iNews hotline at 397-6397. And we also invite you to send your letters to the editor for publication on all of our social media platforms at eyewitnessnewsbahamas@gmail.com. And if you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page, please share your thoughts about today's stories in the comment section. We want to hear from you. We're just getting started in Eyewitness News, but when we come back, a woman appeals for help for her niece that's battling a rare medical condition. We've got that story coming up. And later, the Prisons Association staff says they're tired of being treated like the afterthought. We've got more on that right after this break.
We just got the
Cooper has the details in this next report.
Meet Tatiana Darling. She's 12 years old and was diagnosed with osteogenesis imperfecta, which is a genetic bone disorder that is present at birth, which may result in a child having soft bones that easily break.
This child was raised by my sister, who is now deceased since 2017. My sister basically played the primary role in the care and concern of this child, raising of this child, everything concerning this child. When she died, my niece took full responsibility of her child because her mother was no longer there. And since then, the child ended up in the custody of the government through certain circumstances.
That's Tatiana's aunt, Valderine Small, who explains that while at a government-owned home in 2020, Tatiana fell and fractured her thigh bone.
The doctors could not break her bones or do anything of the like. So what they needed was pins to bring the bones together, to keep the bone together in order for it to heal properly. So she was sent back to the children's home in a wheelchair.
Fast forward to 2023, and Tatiana is still awaiting surgery.
So right now, we don't know how the bone has healed. I have no updates about how the bone, has healed, if it has healed itself adversely or anything of the sort. The only information I am getting is that there are no clips. I can't understand why that is the case after all these years.
Eyewitness News reached out to Grand Bahama Health Services Medical Chief of Staff and orthopedic surgeon Dr. Freeman Lockhart, who spoke to the challenges faced here in the Bahamas when treating patients with this condition.
We prefer to treat kids non-surgically and allow their growth to to heal and realign any broken bones. The problem with these kids is their bones is already fragile, and so yes, we try and treat them non-surgically, but the bones do heal, but then the whole healing process causes significant deformities.
Dr. Lockhart estimated that treatment would be anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. And as you can imagine, someone utilizing the public healthcare system would face challenges coming up with those type of funds up front. It's that, coupled with the fact that supplies here in the Bahamas are scarce, and here's why.
If you're talking about a condition that only affects 1 in every 20,000 person, it's a challenge for the public service to have all of the treatment devices and materials available for such a small percentage of the population.
Small says she has sent multiple letters to the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Social Services to bring some resolve to this situation. But up to now, her questions remain unanswered.
The relevant persons could have handled this situation better than this. And like I said, she's just doing, I've seen incompetence, and I'm not calling the social services department incompetent, but the persons I have dealt with, it's just been here and there, scattered.
Leah Cooper, Eyewitness News.
Now talking labor news, President of the Correctional Officers Staff Association, Hervey Culmer, is voicing his frustrations as he says officers are still awaiting promotions and confirmations. It's an exercise that falls under the remit of the public service. Culmer tonight suggests that some prison officers have been seemingly put on the back burner when it comes to these exercises. And to make matters worse, Culmer says that his group of law enforcement officers are split between 2 government ministries, a concern that he says has played a part in issues not being addressed in a timely fashion.
We're in a very unique situation. We fall between 2 ministries, national security and public service, and that has been part of our problem for quite some time. We actually still awaiting balances of promotions, confirmations, and a large number of that group, and still awaiting corporals and sergeants. We have another matter pending, which we were actually hoping to have settled in-house at the Ministry of National Security, but we haven't made any way forward with that. So it appears now that we have to take it a little further and take it up legally to see, to get a ruling on the matter. Again, the officers would have contracted the now Minister of National Security, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, before he took office as the lawyer and consultant on the case. So we were actually hoping to make headway, seeing that he's the minister now, and settle it internally, but we're not making any progress.
Well, government revealing today several unscrupulous practices which they say are occurring in the country's labor force. That's according to Labor Minister Keith Bell, who says employers are allowing individuals whose work permits they have not signed to work for them. Bell says that this is an offense and both employers and employees can be punished to the fullest extent of the law.
We have discovered that a substantial majority of persons are working for persons who are not their employers. And we would have had a number of meetings, particularly with the construction industry. And we do know, and this is something again that we would have to debate and discuss, and we want input from all of us as beings as to how we ought to deal with it. Because the train is already on the track and it's at full throttle. It's a freight train at full speed. Given the substantial number of persons who are working for other people, it's impossible for the director now to come behind and say, I'm going to cancel all of these work permits, because we could have a significant collapse in certain industries. How do we now address that? Do we charge an administrative fee to allow persons to work, my person to work for you? Do we charge a flat rate? How do we address that?
Well, leader of the opposition, Michael Pintard, and members of the Free National Movement were left dismayed with the notice published by the Department of Inland Revenue. This being revealed in a statement from Pintard, who decried the measure taken to force Bahamian home and property owners to sell their properties if their real property taxes are 7 months or more in arrears. He says more could have and should be done to accommodate Bahamians.
The Davis government continues to focus on draconian measures that seek to frustrate citizens and the business community with extra red tape and with unreasonable demands in an effort to fund a range of initiatives and personal choices that do not improve the welfare of the Bahamian taxpayers. We support all reasonable efforts to improve tax collection and cut down on delinquency, but it is frankly abhorrent to threaten persons to take away their homes and property if they are just 7 months late on a real property tax bill. And it is especially so given the economic trauma that the people of the Bahamas are just now recovering from.
Well, Pintard adds that while opposition is in support of the decision to make taxes current, he believes that government is making a careless mistake.
There are many other approaches that can and should be taken before the government move to such extreme measures. For starters, the focus should be primarily on large foreign landholders who are years and years behind and who have the capacity to pay. Our party chairman raised this matter and was answered by the PLP chairman. Unfortunately, this response was woefully inadequate and requires the Minister of Finance and or the Minister for Economics to speak to this issue directly. What was published by the government, we believe, was their intended position and plan of action. They have been called out on it and must now change this callous course of action.
Well, still to come in Eyewitness News, a local philanthropist is set to honor mothers on this Sunday. But first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast.
4 nights, 4 events, 1 epic weekend. Heineken presents Bahamas Carnival Experience. May 18th to the 21st. Night 1, Hardfest. All happening at the Waterloo. Night 2, Insomnia. And night 3, Amnesia. Night 4, it's Encore. Arawak KB. Let loose with the closing cool effect. We partying in paradise. There's something for everyone. Featuring live performances from Bungie Garland. I ain't come here for no stand up. Kiss the Band. Faye Lions. And the man, the legend, Buju Banton. And so much more. Early bird tickets on sale now at CarnivalBahamas.com or at any Suncash location. It's the Bahamas Carnival Experience. May 18th to the 21st. Brought to you by Heineken, Hennessy, Guinness, PTC.
Protect those we love the most, our children and our grandchildren. I vaccinated my children to protect them. Getting your child immunized can protect them against diseases like polio, measles, whooping cough, and others. So protect your child today by getting them immunized. My grandchildren are vaccinated. You should do the same. Vaccinate your children and your grandchildren and make sure they are safe.
Take advantage of the National Vaccination Catch-Up Campaign, March 25th to April 6th. Visit your nearest clinic weekdays between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. On Saturday, March 25th, visit us at the Red Cross, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on Saturday, April 1st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we'll be at the mall at Marathon. COVID-19 vaccines are also available at all locations. This message is brought to you by PAHO WHO, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and USAID.
Once upon a time, not too far away, CBS Bahamas.
This segment of Eyewitness News is brought to you by Lucayan Car Rental. Great rental, great service, and great cars.
You're looking at live pictures tonight over the capital, Nassau, Bahamas, where the current temperature is 81 degrees with an expected dip to 75. This is Eyewitness News. Welcome back. Well, a Mother's Day show geared towards honoring mothers from all walks of life is set to kick off this Sunday, and apparently it will be the place to be. Our Leah Cooper has more on this.
If you're looking for a place to spend Mother's Day this year, look no further. Bahamian philanthropist Demetrius Smith is putting on a show this Sunday that you're guaranteed to never forget.
This Mother's Day show is going on now for 9 years. This is the 9th year. This Mother's Day show, when I created this was planned to inspire mothers all around. Apart from laughter, apart from the games and all of the prizes, we came to empower women in one room and one night at one time. people leave there inspired. People leave there blessed in major, major ways. Leave there uplifted. This is what it's about. Uplifting women. Women are the matriarchs and the backbones of our country. Without a woman, a family cannot survive. Without a woman, a man cannot have children. And so we have to focus on what it is that a woman is and start to inspire other young ladies to become women when they grow up, ladies when they grow up, and understand the seriousness of what it is to be that a woman.
He says the evening will be filled with prizes and surprises.
That night, people are going to walk out there with washers, dryers, refrigerators, stoves, flat screen TVs. I'm not talking about the little small boys. So we do have some 32s, the 48s, the 55, the 65, the 72s. They're going to be walking out there with bedroom sets. They're going to be walking out there. I tell people, bring your trucks because this night is going to be exciting.
And the grand prize?
Our grand prize this year is a round-trip cruise to Belize. So we're going to have a whole all-expense-paid cruise to Belize. Someone's going to walk out there as a grand prize winner of that, among other little gifts like the air fryers and the blenders and the cash prizes and the shopping vouchers. The people are going to leave out there feeling so relieved, so blessed, so honored to be a part.
Tickets are available at 2 locations. That's Signature Styles on Marathon Road and the 17 Shop on Collins Avenue.
Tickets for general is $25 and for VIP is $50. All right. We have food that's going to be on sale that night as well, but it's going to be just come expecting to be liberated, come expecting to be relieved, come expecting to be blessed in a major way by a young man in the country who's trying to make a change and a difference in the lives of many.
It all goes down this Sunday at the St. John's College Auditorium. Doors open at 5 p.m. and the show begins at 7.
You have never seen a show in the Bahamas. If you are in your bed, you're in home, you're saying, I'm going to stay home because my mom passed. I am not in the mood. Listen, we are celebrating the fact that she shared that life with you. She shared that love with you. She shared that lesson with you. She shared that experience with you. We are celebrating the fact that you actually had a chance and an opportunity to meet an angel here on earth. We are celebrating mothers young. We are celebrating mothers who are pregnant. We are celebrating mothers old. We are celebrating all mothers, women who are not even mothers as yet, but who are aspiring mothers. We are celebrating all of them in one night in one room. I think it's something that every person who have a sense and a greater sense of existence and meaning to live should be a part of.
Leah Cooper, Eyewitness News.
Well, Mumi, for this Mother's Day, I'm probably going to get you 2 tickets to that. And of course, a kiss. I'm telling you, happy Mother's Day. But still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, the road to the championship for our boy DeAndre and Phoenix Suns came to an end. As you know, we're talking sports right after this break.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Hennessy, the spirit of sports in the Bahamas.
Well, thank God it's Friday. Welcome to Eyewitness Sports. It was a heart-wrenching defeat for our boy DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns as they faced the Denver Nuggets in a must-win Game 6. Now, from the very beginning, the Denver Nuggets took control of the game. Their star center Nikola Jokic showcased his dominance once again, leading the Nuggets' offensive charge. Jokic displayed his incredible versatility, scoring, rebounding, and dishing out assists with ease. Ayton's absence forced definitely a more explicit game from the Suns that didn't involve a big man screen at the high perimeter. Ayton's rib contusion forced the Suns to be more one-dimensional than before and caused scorers like Durant and Booker to take difficult shots without a screening big man. Now, for the first 9 minutes of the game, the lead swung back and forth, but for the remainder of the game, ultimately might not have mattered who was at the center as the Suns were so discombobulated. Ayton will now enter a dark phase with the Suns during the summer as rumors begin to spread like a bad disease about his departure from the team and how ugly the relationship has reportedly turned with management and current players. Now, Ayton spoke after their tough Game 5 loss and had this to say.
I mean, I feel good. It's just that everybody think it knocked the wind out of me. I just felt that it was like a bone-on-bone type of thing where it hurt. You know, I had my breath. It just hurt a little bit. Where I couldn't even like close up. I just needed a minute or two. But you know, this is the playoffs, and you gotta get up. You gotta get up and do something. But man, I love this, man. They did their job at home, and we got to handle ours at home. Like Sham said, this is a 7-game series, man. They're the best team.
Meantime, Educating Bahamas are looking to do things bigger and better this year, but they need your support. This after a stunning performance and becoming the talk of the town at the 2022 World Motorsport Olympics in France last year. Now, well, this year the team has been invited to several other international competitions, and they also have plans to return to the Motorsport Olympics next year.
Hope that we eventually get a simulator center because we were invited, since we are an official FIA acknowledged club, to the first ever IOC, the Olympics in e-sports. Only FIA clubs in that matter are allowed to participate, and that takes place the finals in Singapore. So we would have been invited to go to Singapore, but to do that we have to be trained in a different way to be capable to get the gold medal. So we hope in future that we can do that, and next year we'll be there. Next year we'll furthermore plan to go to the Motorsports Olympics in Spain. It's every 2 years.
Well, here's something new, your Eyewitness Sports Play of the Week. This week, it goes to men's national beach soccer team goalie Michael Butler, who helped Team Bahamas clinch its first win against Guatemala at the CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championships earlier this week. Now, after a 2-2 deadlock at the end of regulation, the Bahamas and Guatemala played a scoreless extra session and was once again tied at the end of the penalty shootout, with both sides scoring on 4 of their 5 opportunities. Michael Butler seizing the opportunity to block a goal, ultimately winning the game for Team Bahamas. It was the play of the week. Of course, we look forward to more in the coming weeks. Well, that's a look at sports once again. I'm Devontae Hanna, but stay tuned. More news is right after this break.
Heineken brings you the Bahamas Carnival Experience Night 3, Amnesia, all happening May 20th. Straight from the road right to the stage. This night
It's news. A young entrepreneur seeking to make sure that moms across the Bahamas with their hands full still have enough time to look and feel beautiful. Our Tyler Simonet has her story in this week's Trending with Tyler.
As a mother, it can be hard to find time to fix your hair in between a demanding job and caring for children. Crystal Gibson has focused her beauty brand on assisting women to feel and look beautiful in a short amount of time. Located on East Street and Andres Avenue, Image Beauty Bar is now offering the little black beauty box that has all a mother needs for quick beautification.
There are also many busy moms and women who complained about spending hours in the salon. And so we came up with a product to kind of alleviate all of that. And that is our little black beauty box. And what that is, it's a one-box solution, and it offers everything that you need to look beautiful from head to neck. So it has a ready-to-wear glueless wig. It comes with free complimentary products as well, and a step-by-step manual. And what a ready-to-wear glueless wig is that it's a wig that you literally take out of the package. You add your makeup to blend in with your skin tone, you put it on, and you go.
But owning a beauty supply store did not come without its share of hardships. Crystal reveals their first location burned to ashes after an arson attack.
We lost everything. So after that, we started over, we found a new location, and we were set to open, and then we were hit by the pandemic. So I think during our six-year course in business, that was one of the biggest setbacks that we've had. But through that, and with the help of God, we've been able to not only come back bigger, but also better.
Image Beauty Bar also offers Bahamian-made products to assist with hair loss. And as a mother of one, Crystal says she feels as if the role has made her a better business owner.
Yes, I'm a mom, the best one ever, with the best kid ever. I have one son, and he's absolutely amazing. And I think it's one of the things that has helped me and encouraged me, not just to do my best, but also to be the best in business and in my personal life, to ensure that I am an example for him.
And as for the future?
Well, first and foremost, whatever God has in store for us, He is our blueprint. And so that's what is important to us. And secondly, we want to not just assist and service the local market, but to expand the borders and reach out to the international market as well. We know how difficult it is for women in business, and so we also want to reach out to women and local beauty brands who may have products and services at this time. They don't have a storefront, but they want their products to be retailed. So we also want to work with those brands in the future to carry those in our stores and to ensure that they actually get in the hands of Bahamian women.
Tyler Simonet, Eyewitness News.
All right, great story there, Tyler. Well, we have some exciting news to share with you tonight. We are just 3 days away from the 5-year anniversary of Eyewitness News. And to celebrate this milestone, we are hosting a special reunion show with everyone who came together to make this news what it is today. We are so proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the past 5 years, and we couldn't have done it without our amazing team of reporters, editors, producers, and of course, you. So mark your calendars for this special reunion show where we'll be reminiscing on some of our best moments and highlighting some of the stories that have made a lasting impact on our viewers. Make sure to tune in to Eyewitness News on ILTV this Monday, May 15th at 8 p.m. to catch this special anniversary show. We can't wait to celebrate with you. Well, coming up in Beyond the Headlines tonight with Shanique Miller, it's a look at all today's top stories and, of course, a deeper analysis on them. But that does it for us here in Eyewitness News. It's certainly been a pleasure having you in our company tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Devontae Hanna saying good night and have a great weekend, everyone.
Cash and Go now offers business solutions for our merchants. A new way of accepting payments and transacting with your clients using our mobile wallet. By using the Scan and Pay feature in-app, our merchants can get paid using funds deposited via debit or credit card or with Sand Dollar, the digital currency of the Bahamas. Our merchants can also get paid remotely by using our Cash and Go merchant portal. You can send a payment request to your client's mobile app nationally. The digital age is a new way to grow your business. Why not do it with Cash and Go? Visit our website at www.cashandgobahamas.com and sign up for a merchant account today.
or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Alive, still connected, still with you.
It's Mother's Day this weekend, and what do you have planned for Mom? Well, the mothers of MyCal are receiving a special treat this Mother's Day. We'll hear more about it. Also, if you desire to learn more about motherhood or just enjoy a special time with your mom, hear from Mom and Me event coming up. The organizers are here. It's an annual event, and they're going to talk more about this year's conference. And the Hot Topics panel is here for an all-new Week in Review Fridays. Stay close to see if your story made the list this week. Good evening. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. I'm Shanique Miller. Welcome to tonight's show. Mother's Day is on Sunday, a day set aside just for moms. Motherhood is challenging, and so celebrating your mother is a way to show love, appreciation, and recognition for her irreplaceable role in a family. In the Bahamas, you know it very well, Mother's Day, whenever it's near, we see the makeshift flea markets set up alongside the road, stalls, and just about anything selling just about anything, anywhere. Well, the mothers of Mayaguana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Acklins, and Long Key, MyCal, are smiling a little wider this Mother's Day as a son of the soil has stepped in to say thank you to the mothers on all 5 islands in the southern Bahamas. Shane Gibson is a native of Acklins, and he stepped up this Mother's Day to ensure that each mother feels appreciated and special. Well, he joins me right now to talk about this year's outreach and what went into making each mother in MyCal happy this Mother's Day. Good evening to you, Mr. Gibson. It's good to have you here on Beyond the Headlines to talk about this. You know, I just love these feel-good shows, and I love starting on such a feel-good note, especially in MyCal. And so, first of all, thanks for being here. And let's talk about your Mother's Day event that's happening there. You've assembled quite the team to assist you in making sure that this happened and ensuring that each mother throughout MyCal is reached. How has the outreach that you've been going so far?
Well, first of all, Shanique, just let me say it's a pleasure for me to be here with you on Beyond the Headlines. This is my first time here on the show, first time here in the studio. And,
you weren't here any time before?
No other time before.
Aren't we special, you all?
This is the first time, and so it's a pleasure being here. And but I must tell you, I listen to the show and watch it all the time, and you all are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
You know, I know it's not easy, always challenging. People don't know the amount of work that go on behind the scenes, but nonetheless, you're doing a good job. I just want to say that for persons who see me doing running programs, whether it's in MyCal or Eleuthera, they shouldn't be surprised, because I'm a descendant of MyCal. And I'm a descendant of Eleuthera. The Gibsons first started off in Savannah Sound and then branched off on other islands. Some went to Long Island, Exuma, Acklins, Long Key. And so just so we could put it in the right context, my mother was from Colonel Hill, Crooked Island. My father was from Masons Bay, Acklins.
Okay.
And my mother's father, who was T.G. Glover, was from Inagua.
Oh,
right?
So you touching all those islands there, like truly, yes.
Yeah, and then when I went to Mayaguana the other day, they told me, listen here, your family was responsible for starting this in James Native Baptist Church in Mayaguana, right? And they told me that. I didn't know that. You know, so I had a connection on all of these islands. Some I knew, and one I didn't know. And so when you think about the hardship on all of the islands, particularly the Southeast Islands, the islands are sometimes forgotten, right? I thought it was very important just to do a little something to brighten up the Mother's Day. For the mothers down there in MyCal. As you know, my mother passed from 2013, and so I no longer have the pleasure of celebrating Mother's Day with her. But you know, like the Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm in a position to do a little something to brighten up the day of the mothers in MyCal, I decided to do it. And so I kept getting calls from down there talking about how still this, down there, nothing happening. And so I've assembled a really good team of persons who have all came on and volunteered to assist to make sure that we're able to get a little small gift in the hands of each mother in MyCal. And you know, a lot of times you see these signs going up, the same sign that they put up 10 years ago, you still see it go, every Mother's Day they put it up and they take it back down. Very impersonal, right? Where it's not really reaching a household. And so I do tend to do things a bit different. Whenever I do anything,
you are known for
I want to
that,
go
yeah.
and I want to touch every household.
Right.
I don't want to dust off the big signs, say Happy Mother's Day, in a very broad way, where everybody have to drive past the sign and see that it's Mother's Day. And so the fact that I have whole group of volunteers there, they've started giving out the Mother's Day gifts, and they started, today is Friday, they started Wednesday. They went out yesterday, and they're supposed to hopefully finish by tomorrow. And so what we did is we put a little card together, Mother's Day card of my wife, Pastor Jackie Gibson, and my deceased mother, Gerlin Gibson, all right? And then we did a little manicure set, right?
Nice, yes.
That we, hope I can get it open, yeah?
Yeah.
Little manicure set. Right?
So the moms there, listen, no high nails.
No high nails, no high nails. And so we just wanted to get a little small token.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like I said, most
but
times
I'll tell you,
they've
this makes a difference, and even there's the color, you know, the bright yellow and stuff, and you don't know how important something like this is to know that once someone remembered you. And the fact is, this is your own personal thing to just open up, and every time you use it, because a woman needs that almost weekly, I'll tell you that, those tools in there, and it really just makes a difference in Brighton. You talked about what caused you to do it, the fact that those far-flung islands are often forgotten, the mothers who everybody should be saying thank you to, often because things are still, the economy in most of those islands, perhaps outside of Inagua, are kind of at a standstill. I know Auckland's had some challenges recently with no fuel and the mail boat, and so it's good to see that you have obviously thought this through and decided that you would bring some sunshine to those residents.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just want to wish all those mothers out there throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas a happy Mother's Day. Even those ones who are not in Michael, but the ones who are particularly in Michael, happy Mother's Day, and I hope to see them very soon. We will continue to do whatever we could do to make sure that we just continue to highlight what's happening on there. You know, mothers are so special, and a lot of times I think we take them for granted, the things that they do on a daily basis, and we see it, they see it as routine, right? But the amount of work and the amount of effort that mothers put into rearing their kids, when most of the time the fathers are there doing stuff, and you just sort of assume that whatever isn't happening, the mother's taking care of it, and it's true. But they're like the
mothers
heroes.
make it happen.
They make it happen.
Yeah, mothers
I
make
watched
it
my mother do it.
Yes, absolutely.
Listen, there were seven
and
of us.
sometimes you wonder where from. Like, where is she finding this from? You know, meaning the resources to be able to put food on the table, or that book you need for school, or whatever it is. But mothers make it happen.
Listen, there were 7 of us in my household, right? And mommy took care of 7 of us. And when I see mothers today with 1 child and they struggling, doing homework, preparing meals, preparing their uniforms, all that, and they having a struggle with what, I say, well, how did mommy do the 7? And the 7 of us are all 1 year apart. The oldest one is 7 years older than the youngest one, and she was able to just juggle everything and make everything happen. Making breakfast for 7 kids in the morning time, preparing lunch, because you know those days you carry lunch to go, you didn't carry any money.
No.
You know, ironing uniforms.
Yes.
And so, and making sure that you understand the importance of being spiritually connected and reading your Bible.
They really have played. I mean, nowadays mothers little change. You know what I mean? I said we can talk about that in the next segment. How they didn't come. They new age mothers. But as still, generally speaking, mothers really just do a lot. As you say, they teach the kids morals and standards and what's acceptable, how they need to show up in society, ensure that they have 3 hot meals, just to make sure that even that you feel just as good as the next child out there once you step foot outside that house.
Yeah. And so it's important for me. Whatever basic principles were instilled in me at a very early age by my mother, I want to make sure I could pass those along. And so that's why I'm making a special effort to go out there in the community and do as much as I could to make mothers feel comfortable and welcome and appreciated.
I like that you even focused on the Maikal area because, again, we know those areas, those islands are still relatively untouched. They are not spoiled by, say, I guess, the modernness of the northern Bahamas. Let's just talk about how even more special this outreach is to reach those mothers, the elderly mothers especially on some of those islands like Mayaguana, perhaps parts of Auckland and parts of Mayaguana who are at a certain age and may have been forgotten and overlooked, but this smile on their faces this Mother's Day.
Yeah, well, let me just say, we didn't only start on Mother's Day, we started before.
Okay.
Christmas past, we identified all of the elderly individuals and mothers in particular in the area, and we were able to give them turkey and do some other things. And
also, you've been trying to make things happen in that area now for quite some time.
Oh, yeah, no, because I feel connected. See, listen, for me, I don't know if I should say unfortunately or fortunately. I guess in this instance I use fortunately. Fortunately, I have no job. I'm fully retired now. So I have lots of time on my hand. I didn't get any kind of appointment, any kind of nothing, so I got time on my hand. And the fact that I have time on my hand, I want to make sure I put this time to positive use. And so everything that's happening down there in Michael, I want to be a part of it.
No, but you are making, not only in Michael, people talk about your outreach, not just in the Michael area, which is great that it's happening there, but in other areas as well, or even just on individual households. People talk about how you still lend a helping hand.
Yeah, well, listen here, that's in me. My father was like that. If you knew King Eric, you will know that he was a very given person. And Mummy was one of those persons who she had just a heart of gold, right? She worked with the New Liveville Baptist Church. She worked with the Baptist Women's Ministry. She just did a lot of work in the community. And so she is what you would call a mother's mother, right? She is a fine example as to what a mother should be. And that is why, as I connect with the individuals in all of these islands, not only Michael, all of them, inevitably, every household I go to, they're telling me stories about how they connected with my mother and my parents. They're telling me, I went there to try and tell them about me. They're telling me about me. They're telling me things I didn't know. Yeah, I know your mother from this, your mother was that, my mom used to sew, she used to cook, she did a lot of stuff. And whatever she did, she shared it in the community. Very giving person. So I wanna take on that role and where she left off.
I think you have picked up on that legacy and you are now doing it. I think you are.
And let me tell you, when you go to those settlements, and you see the conditions of some of those individuals, you know that they're forgotten. But the islands are bursting with opportunities as long as you give them a chance.
Yeah.
You know, you can't forget them. You have to go there and harness whatever's there. And that's what I'm doing right now, reaching every settlement, every mother, and on every island to make sure we can brighten their day.
Which is awesome. I'm all for that because the people, I mean, there's from mental health to issues, and you may not think that an elderly mother maybe go through these various emotions, but she does.
Yeah.
And again, just this wonderful gesture means so much to someone like that, and also the younger one as well. And so it really is a great outreach you're doing. I want to talk about what's happening in the Southern Bahamas, though. It's been in the headlines. Last night on this show, I had the family of a murder victim on from Crooked Island. I'm sure you know very well and has been following. Have you reached out just to not only the family, but the residents of Crooked Island, the residents of Auckland, just to sort of assure them that, listen, you stay strong, you're gonna get through this as tough as it is?
I was able to speak with the sister of the deceased. I was able to speak with the mother and also her father. And I was able to speak with some of the residents in Crooked Islands as well as some of the residents in Auckland. And like you said, I just wanted to reassure them of my support. You know, I understand what it is they're going through because it's a very difficult time. You know, it's one thing when somebody is sick for a long time and all of a sudden they pass, but you sort of prepare yourself because they were so sick as a possibility. But when you have a healthy, vibrant individual, then all of a sudden their life is just taken away in a moment's, without a moment's notice. It's very difficult, particularly when it's done in such a way, you know, to use a cutlass and cut somebody up, and you know, just talking about it disgusts me, you know. And so, whoever's responsible for this, hopefully, the police is able to identify them and that they will be dealt with to the full extent of the law. But the family seems to be strong. It's difficult for them. I understand the anger that they're displaying right now. If it was me, I would be doing the exact same thing. And so, just being able to talk to them and comfort them and reassure them of my support was just something I enjoy doing.
Very, very good. And as we wrap up this segment, your message to mothers of Michael and the entire country?
Just continue to be the wonderful mothers that you're being. Continue to do the work that you're doing. Continue to support the community, support your kids. Don't look for any recognition. Mothers in the past never looked for recognition. All they know is this is the right thing to do and I'm going to do it. And I want to encourage those mothers, notwithstanding the fact that sometimes you feel forgotten, to continue to do a wonderful job that you're doing throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas.
And again, you know what? Continue the good work. Continue that because it's really making a difference. You'll be surprised to know the happiness you put on somebody's heart, the smile you put on their faces just by this gesture that you're doing in this instance for Mother's Day, but of course, many times before. I thank you very much, Shane Gibson. You promised to come back and maybe talk some national issues.
Listen to me. There are a lot of things I want to talk about, and I'm going to give you the first opportunity to break it. I'm telling you, there are lots of things I want to talk about.
We will hold him to that. How about that, y'all? We will hold him to that. You are welcome back on this at this table with me to talk about just a number of things, as you said. Okay. But I thank you very much. And again, good job and just, again, making happy so many residents of the Southern Bahamas. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a break and come back with more Beyond the Headlines. This is Week in Review Fridays. Back right after this. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines, Week in Review Fridays, brought to you by Alive. And so we're going to continue with our Mother's Day theme. Next week, there is a wonderful conference. It's called Mom and Me. In fact, I'll get the official name right now, but this conference is into its 9th year, and it brings together mothers and daughters, just mothers, women, to come into sort of a setting where they are taught just wonderful, great nuggets about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a mother, a wife, just sort of this nurturing person as a part of just our whole makeup. I am so interested in it, in hearing more about it as well. And so the organizers of this event, that's right, I was so surprised to hear that they do this. So the organizers of this event, get this, you all would perhaps recognize the faces immediately. Devonia and her mother, Vernita Josie. Now, of course, they are in the church steeped. They have official titles. And so they'll tell us about those titles as well. But ladies, it's wonderful having you here. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines on this Mother's Day. And I know you both are mothers, so happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Shanique.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. It's a joy to be here.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. Of course, you know, I know they are father and husband very, very well. Somebody I've worked with for quite a number of years in media, but in this instance, let's stay focused, right? So next week you have this Mom and Me event, and please give us the official name. But tell us more about this event that's into its 9th year.
All right, Shanique. So the name of our conference is Mother Me, and we are in our 9th year, and it was really based on mothers really being there to teach and train their daughters, and also mentors. You may not be a biological mother, but you may have some younger women that just need to be taught. And the title Mother Me simply means there are some young women that need to be mothered. We look at a lot of the issues in society and we just believe, boy, these young women, they just bad and they're just doing all kind of things, but who's teaching them? And so the basis of this is really for us to teach and
have
train.
lost, because you heard the first segment where we talked about how mothers of old made it happen, and they were so amazing. So you may say things like, "Oh, the mothers of today, gosh, number one, they're 15?" Right, a joke, but not really a joke. But it's true. But and then the grandmothers are 20. But what we're saying though is we criticize oftentimes that the fact that they don't know what they're doing. But you're saying they've not been exposed and taught.
That's right. Who is teaching the next generation? And for me, and that's where this basically stemmed from, my mom has been in ministry all my life. And at age 21, I got pregnant out of wedlock. I got pregnant before I got married. PK, preacher's kid. And I remember it was a difficult period, but I always share with people, Shanique, my mother fought for me.
Wow.
I was a mess. I was in a mess, but my mom fought for me.
So she didn't turn her back, even though, of course, imagine this woman who is a pastor's wife.
That's right.
Who is a leader in the community and the church. And so for her daughter, their daughter, to go and now at 21, at 21 become pregnant, she did not kind of sort of scorn you then and leave you out there to the wolves.
No, she didn't. And she could probably talk more about it.
Yes, Shanique, it was a rough time for us as a family. Here it is, we're in ministry. The Lord is telling us that He's getting ready to bless us and everything. We're poised for this blessing. And all of a sudden, here she comes. She's pregnant. What are we to do? My husband didn't take it well at all. Actually, he got sick during the whole process. Ended up with sugar diabetes, so we, thought we were going to lose him because this girl is so dear to his heart, and he took it real hard. But God helped us through it. It was dark, but I stood on the word of God, knowing that I'm supposed to be that godly mother that will see my children through. And we know that children are an heritage of the Lord, and when God blesses us with children, we ought to be there to take care of them, to nurture them, to help them when they fall, to help them to get back up. And the one thing, a message my husband preached, that children would go through a lot of mess, they would make mistakes, but we got to help them to get out. But that time, I don't think he remembered that.
No, but it was too close.
Remember.
What happened? It knocked on his door, and imagine him, a senior police officer, this very strict disciplinarian, and then his daughter can be acting retarded and doing stuff.
It was rough.
But talk about what so many mothers in particular seem that they want to just run towards, which is being their children's friends. Is that a good thing? Is that something that has really caused what we see around us, to be playing out right now as we see it?
I think it's okay to be approachable as parents. It's okay to listen, but you have a mandate to train and teach. And that's not always going to be easy. It's not going to always be feel good. And so our mothers have to get to the place where we realize that there ought to be a line drawn. And even with my mom, there was a line.
Even though she stepped up and didn't sort of come down on you and throw you out, the point is she kept that line though. That very visible line.
That's right. Don't get beside yourself, girl. Get yourself. And she just kept it real with me. She was real. She was open, but she was stern. When it's so important just to maintain that godly balance. We have a duty to train. Training sometimes come with you got to be reprimanded. You've got to be disciplined. That's a part of it as well. And so when that's what she did, and it kept it moving, and I was stronger for it. And I thank God for her.
For it.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this. you ladies didn't tell me your church titles because I don't want to be disrespectful. But Fernita, I want to ask you this: how tough was it for you to love Devonia, yet, like she said, you stepped up and still though said, Devonia, I love you, I support you, I'm here for you. We're gonna get through this together. But this right here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I am Elder Josie. Yes, that's my title at the church. But let me tell you, I am God's chosen vessel. And as I was going through that time, you know, I told my daughter, listen here, I remember what God said to me about you. He told me when she was 7 years old, she's going to be a prophetess, okay? I got that message and I was not looking at what I was seeing. I say, God, you told me who she is, and that's who I'm calling forth now. So I told her with her big belly, I say, prophetess, you come forth. I say, you come forth. Get up, dust yourself off.
So you believe you mothered by speaking the future over her and into her, even though you were seeing something totally different at that moment.
God said to me, you know, you declare what you want to see. You understand? I was looking at a messed up situation, but I believed in the word of God. I believe his word, and he already told me who she is, and that's what I stood on. So I called her forth, even though, you know, she had to go away from us because my husband was he couldn't take it much, you know, and her uncle sent for her to be with him, you know, and I'm saying, you know, my heart was broken because here it is, this is my only daughter. I have 2 sons and 1 daughter, and this is my daughter that's going away from me, but I'm saying, God, what are you saying here? She has to leave home and go away. But, you know, I am understanding that God doesn't make mistakes. Because of this, she became stronger. She became who God has called her to be. So I told mothers, I said, listen here, whenever I speak, I say, don't give up on your children. Don't give up on them, no matter what you see.
I like that. So regardless of where they go and how they fall off and maybe the mistakes or whatever it is they do that goes against or in the opposite direction that you desire and see for them, you are saying, Elder Josie, don't give up. Don't give up on them. Don't stop speaking over them, praying over them, and even embracing them.
That's right. Of course.
That's where this conference came from. I had a support system. I mean, second to none. And when we talked about putting this conference together, I realized that there are a lot of young women that are lost. And they don't have this strong support system that I had. And so we created this avenue where women can be taught and empowered that you have an assignment to the next generation. It got to be more than talk, women. It got to be more than just spewing negativity upon the next generation. Yes, it looks bad. For me, with my mom, it looked bad. It looked like a hot mess.
And you're right, and it's vexing, it's hurtful, it's all of the above.
But you got to speak life. What is it that you're doing to help the situation? And so there are some young women out there that need to know that, honey, you made a mess, but I got you. I'm here to support you. I am here, whatever it is that you need. You may need some coaching, some teaching. You may need new clothes. You may need a new hairdo. You may need a job opportunity. I am here to walk it out with you. And that's what this conference is all about.
So let's talk about the conference. The conference is next week. Give us the dates and then, of course, the focus. You kind of broadly talked about it, but specifically the focus, the topics to be discussed really quickly.
Okay, so the conference is May 18th to the 20th. That's next week, Thursday to Friday. Thursday to Saturday. It's free of charge. Our conference title this year, the theme is Be Thou Made Whole. We have some amazing speakers, and in addition to that, we also have something called the Mother's Cupboard, where we give back to the community. Because I could preach to you, I could teach to you, but if you ain't got nothing to eat, it's a problem. You can't hear nothing I'm saying. And so we wanted to be able to reach the whole woman. And so that's what this conference is about. We want to empower you, be thou made whole. The broken pieces, God wants to put it all back together. And so he is using this platform to do that.
Where is it going to be held?
We're going to be at Commonwealth Baptist Church in Elizabeth Estates, Commonwealth Boulevard. So you want to come on down, Commonwealth Baptist Church. Bishop Arnold Josie is our senior pastor. Shout out to you. And so we want you to come on down at 7:30 p.m. nightly. So it's Thursday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. and Saturday morning. We start at 8:30 a.m. So you want to come on down and see what it's all about. There's something special with your name on it.
Okay, so there it is. That's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning. Giveaways, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, whatever. But more importantly, the wonderful exchanges and impartation of wisdom. Everybody need it nowadays. Like everybody's sort of like kind of feeling around. people just need that direction, that guidance, and so that's really, really good.
Yes.
I thank you very much, Elder Vernita Josie, Devonia Josie. I know you have a different last name,
Williams.
but Williams, that
Yes.
part right there, that's right. She's married, y'all. After 21 with the belly, she's now Devonia Josie Williams. Yeah. And so once again, that conference is next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning at Commonwealth Baptist Church. Ladies, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure, absolutely. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, the headlines of the week, and of course, the Hot Topics panel give their spin on it. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back right after this. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We are, of course, in Week in Review Fridays. Just really a couple stories we're going to get to. Many people were quite afraid, in fact, nervous is perhaps a better word, about the fact that the government put out there, well, not necessarily, I'll tell you what it is, the Department of Revenue, Inland Revenue, that is responsible for collecting. You remember some time ago that this sort of new policy came out that in order to have your licenses or business licenses renewed, you've got to make sure that your real property tax is up to date, this, that, a few other things. Well, I got this from several people. Shanique, you must look into this, because what are they doing? Threatening to take people's properties because you are owing for real property tax. So then, it turned into a political back and forth. The chairman of the Free National Movement says, listen, this administration is, my God, taking away and stripping Bahamians of their hard-earned work, which is, of course, their property. Then the chairman of the Progressive Liberal Party, Fred Mitchell, says, Dr. Sands, not so fast. No, it's not that. It's actually, we're going after those, I guess, I don't know, maybe foreign entities that are owing on their real property taxes, and the properties are just sitting there and doing nothing, and this is what we need to now kind of clean up. So we're gonna jump in right there. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, BTH contributor here on the show, Garth Rosborough. Garth, I know that you've been watching, like everybody else, watching these headlines, watching this play out. I think since yesterday, after the ad came out, the newspaper ad from the Inland Revenue about this real property tax issue?
Well, anytime we speak about land in the Bahamas, it's a problem. Just imagine how many families right now are at war just over land, whether that's crown land, whether that's generational property. Land, when you say the word land, it gets everyone's attention. There are people who have never had land before that are now asking the government to give their free acre of land. So let's zoom in on what's really happening here. For those people who've already inherited property, for those people who have already owned their property, imagine you've paid your bank institution all these years and you've not paid your real property tax. And because of hard times, we've gone through several hurricanes and we've gone through the pandemic, and now you've not even brought your NIB up to par. And so what is now left is you are now in debt. That's where you are. You owe the government, and the government is saying, for those people that owe, guess what? We're now going to take the right to take your property away. That sounds sensible to me. If you're not paying what is owed to the government, then the government is coming for what they feel they are owed.
Because it's basically just sitting there. You're right, Garth. It does sound sensible. Go ahead. Let me hear where you're going with this.
Here's where the miscommunication now takes place. Because we have a royal opposition in our country who is seeking an opportunity, of course, to take government, which naturally they should do. They heard of this land takeover deal, and they say, you know what? No, you can't do that to the Bahamian people. Why? Because Bahamian people are sensitive when it comes to land. But what Mr. Mitchell is now saying is that is not what we said. What we said was that for those properties that are owned by the foreigners, for those people that have those commercial real estate and they're not paying their taxes on their commercial real estate, in quote, those rich people who have money, who don't want to pay us, we're now going to threaten to take away your property.
You say threaten, what you believe? They won't take the property?
Well, we've never had it done before in my recollection, in my lifetime. It sounds plausible to me. Wherever we go around the world, we hear about the government now needs to tax the rich, tax the rich, tax the rich, leave the poor people alone. And what the F&M now basically did in counteracting their error is to say that, you know what? This is only the first stage of the attack.
Oh, getting to right there.
They're going to go after these foreign people, but guess what, Bahamian people? You next.
Oh, wow. Well, let me tell you what it's really saying. It says, so real property tax accounts classified as commercial, residential, foreign-owned, vacant, and or foreign-owned, owner-occupied that have been in arrears for more than 7 months may be eligible for power of sale. I don't like that maybe word because it should happen. You are foreign-owned. If you can afford these property tax, to purchase this property, because no doubt it's in very high-end areas where the property is at a certain threshold already. The thing is, pay up. You can't be sitting here in the country like everybody, like the rest, like you said, other people who've perhaps come up on hard financial times recently, and so they're owing. But you got millions in the bank and ain't paying. No, pay up. I applaud the government, and don't say may come up for sale. Make that happen. Also, I want to say this, and I want the PLP chairman. I'm happy he said this. He said the ad was very sloppy. And that is why all this, because I'll tell you, so many people were nervous about this. I got the ad several times that people said to me, Shanique, you've got to go and discuss this. What is this about? Are they stripping our properties? My God, people can't pay what we're only owing for several months or a few months. Why are we being threatened? Well, that is what it was. And so Minister Mitchell also said that he has instructed Inland Revenue to go and put that ad back. And please write it sensibly is what he's saying, so that it makes sense and people can understand exactly what is being said.
Well, the threats have gone from the streets. I actually went to a business establishment today, and of course his response to just even hearing, and you can imagine how it goes on the streets of Nassau. It explodes into something totally different. And he says, is this government crazy? Do they want to just give away the next election? I don't want to talk too much politically about this, but I just want to say that for most of us who are homeowners, we understand the rising cost of living in this country. We understand inflation. The interest rate in this country by way of banking is just simply crazy. It's insane. And so imagine every day you're fighting to pay your mortgage. You're now fighting to put food on the table. Someone just complained to me on my way here. man, fuel prices is creeping up. Don't let these people fool you. It's almost $6 a gallon again. But everyone is driving around
so
and not even. So when the guy said,
well, they're typical Bahamians. Don't pay attention yet. But I'm happy you brought it to our attention tonight on this show right now on Weekend Review Fridays. So it's creeping up, you're saying.
Man,
it's
slipping them little dimes. We don't say dimes, but 10 cents and 5 cents in there. And Bahamian people, because we like to drive and move around, we're paying the cost for that. And so now when you hear, wait a minute, they're coming for your home, they're coming for my house, after I've already struggled, blood, sweat, and tears all these years. Oh, no, I'm mad with this government. And so this is a type of now controversy we have now in the country. And rightly so, this government now needs to make that very clear exactly what they're saying. And not only make it clear, but as you said, to make sure that what they say that they're actually going to do.
Yes, because the Bahamian people, it's almost like the issue with the shanty towns. Okay, again, people, you talk about owning homes and what goes into that and the expense and the various permits that are needed each step of the way. And to see people set up whole communities without having to do any of that. So now you're saying that people who are well able to pay that real property tax are actually sitting there with the arrears building and you're not doing anything? No, do that, and you will really just make such a great impression on Bahamian people, Garth.
And even so now, as they're asking for this tax revenue to come in, just take a note of the eastern side of downtown Bay Street. It's deplorable. It's in bad shape. Have these people been paying their taxes throughout the years? Of course, the rent downtown was very exorbitant.
That's been in the news recently too, because
they
have not been doing it. They have not done anything to those properties in years.
And they've not paid any type of ghetto tax. I think we need to have a ghetto tax. Whenever your property looks as if it's falling apart and you're not able to maintain it, a ghetto tax needs to be applied. And if you can't pay a ghetto tax, then of course we demolish the building to make our country, clean and pristine as we would like for it to be. And so right now, the government, as we said before, you must do what you say. The Bahamian people are watching, they are listening, and guess what? For whatever you do, this is not a good time to even add an additional tax to these Bahamian people.
Quite interesting. Well, Garth, I know that you have, because certainly the rest of the country has been watching this thing play out with Atlantis. Atlantis president has been very vocal recently, even through their environmental people that have been brought on board to talk really against and why the government should not move in the direction of approving that RCI $100 million deal on Paradise Island. The government has approved it, but President Audrey Oswell has last month, April, basically sort of told her employees that, listen, stand up against it. If you feel, start speaking out, join the narrative out there, speak out, etc. Now, according to the Department of Labor and the Minister of Labor, Keith Bell, the department has received complaints from workers basically saying, I guess they feel uncomfortable, maybe they feel strong-armed, they feel nervous because if they don't do anything, are their jobs on the line or however that is. But after saying that and being so bold to say it and send out that notice via a news release or a release to the team members, Atlantis this week is pulling back and saying, no. We never pressured our workers to oppose the RCI project, but it's right there. It's right there. We have talked about it earlier this week, etc. But what are your thoughts, Garth? That this major resort that has been sort of sitting there now for years, and Atlantis has its role. We know what it's done. It's been incredible for this country, but it's also sort of been allowed to not move forward in recent years in terms of enhancement and new energy and renovations and something that's new to the overall appeal of that resort. Bahamas has come and it appears just fresh. And now RCI is there and proposing what they're proposing. What are your thoughts about where Atlantis now finds itself being investigated by the Department of Labor?
I think you and I must be becoming twins because I love your narrative. The narrative in that we first have to thank Atlantis for its many contributions that they have made to this country. Let's just establish that first. We thank you for coming. We thank you for doing business with the Bahamas and the Bahamian people. We are appreciative. The same Atlantis, though, has also been guilty, though, of not giving top management, or sufficient, I should say, top management jobs to Bahamians initially when they came. I remember when we had the big fuss and row about, Bahamians need to be more well-placed. We have Bahamians who are qualified, who have the education, who have the experience, but they don't have the opportunity, and they're bringing foreigners in, as it were, to manage over the resort. And then the same, Atlanta seemed to be fighting against the hotel union at one point. The union wanted higher wages and the back and forth situation. And now the hotel is saying, hey, employees, we now need to be friends.
Yes, stand up. Yes, stand up.
Yeah, we need an alliance now with you.
Hey, we need you all to do something for us.
And so I'll tell you how this works, you know. It reminds me of the British-Chinese War. When the British first came to China and attacked China, and China just whooped their tail, you know. And the British went back home and said, you know what? Man, those people are tough. We got to find a way in. And so they sent a Rolls Royce over to China for the emperor and sent him some toys and some gifts and so forth. Hey, man, we friends. We'll come over there and give you a visit. And the next thing you know, they're dropping a bomb on you, you know? And so you have to be careful who you hold hands with, is what I'm saying to you. Yes, we all want a better Bahamas. That's what a better Bahamas looks like. We just don't need to give all the power to one particular entity. Do not make friends with the enemy and hope that the enemy is going to take care of you in the future, because a bomb may still be waiting for you. There's enough room in this country for so much more. Yes, we do have a concern with RCI. Yes, we do have a concern with the environment and how it will affect the environment. But at the same time, when it comes to more opportunities for this country to grow, of course we must open our arms to it, and we're not prepared to stand with you on that. Let's open the doors. Let's bring the money in.
Well, RCI does have to prove itself, doesn't it? I mean, if other projects were given the go-ahead and they've managed to be on the side of right when it comes to the environment, you don't think that this multi-billion-dollar organization and company with this $100 million investment can toe the environment line and ensure that whatever it does, that it honors the very vulnerable habitat that's there? And that'll benefit it as well?
Well, that's what we're hoping for, but we also have a confidence in our government system that we are hoping that they're doing what's in the best interest for the people of the Bahamas. I fully understand that we may not always agree, and sometimes we may even disagree, but when it comes to taking care of business for the entire nation, we have to now be a bit more responsible. We have to do our due diligence. We have to give the Bahamas government a little wiggle room, as you just said correctly, to prove themselves that this can work. Now, if it doesn't work, of course we can protest. I mean, I don't know what type of protest you're going to do, because the last set of people that protested, that wasn't too pretty. But guess what? I think we, the Bahamian people, are expecting more from this government. We're expecting more from Atlantis. We're expecting much more from RCI and Bahamas. Let's get this country moving. Let's stop talking. Let's get some action. And as you said, not to stand up against prosperity and progress, but let's now start to walk and hold hands with prosperity and progress and pray to the God that everyone says that he serves in this country to make this country a better place.
Well, Garth, I thank you very much for your insight and your perspectives on some of the bigger stories, the news stories this week. Certainly, of course, appreciate that. Before we wrap up this segment, though, I want to say on Monday and Tuesday evenings, Beyond the Headlines will be aired at 9 and 11 o'clock. You all heard that, right? Beyond the Headlines, Monday and Tuesday, 9 and 11 o'clock. And here's why. We have a two-part special reunion show. Of course, you know, it's been about 5 years now since Eyewitness News has been in operation and becoming becoming your number one source for news and, of course, the stories behind the news right here. And so you will have an opportunity. We invite you on those evenings at 8 o'clock to pull up a chair, have a front row seat, and see your favorite news team as well as your favorite news show, and the show host is right here, me, and see behind the scenes as we celebrate and obviously just kind of mark some of the highlights for the last several years. And so we certainly, of course, invite you to tune in at 8 o'clock Monday and Tuesday evenings for our special reunion show right here on Eyewitness News. And don't forget, Beyond the Headlines, 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock, Monday and Tuesday evenings. Well, we certainly enjoyed having you along this week. It's been super. We look forward to another incredible week next week. Until then, though, have a wonderful week. And on behalf of the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great weekend, everyone.